So we need more developers to make money, and we need more investors to be in the market in order to get out of this housing crisis. And the city of Surrey's starting to realize that in terms of incentivizing more builders out there to get development going near rapid transit. And that is a fantastic thing. I love seeing stuff like this here to incentivize the builders to do what they need to do. And it's going to be a rebate program through fees that are actually backdated right now. We're sitting in April, so they're going to get, if they paid fees after December 4th, 2023, they're going to actually get those fees back here, rebate program through this incentive. And it's going to extend significantly beyond what the transit-oriented areas, the province's transit-oriented areas are going to be based off of. Those are based off of 800 meters, and we're going to go through that in a next article here. But you're actually going to get up to 1.5 kilometers of existing SkyTrain. These 4 of them there, or the rapid bus stations here. Of course, in the future, this is probably going to include the ones going down Fraser Highway as well, in order to get those incentives, to get those areas building more, getting denser, and incentivizing the builders to build in those areas specifically, because that's where we want those hubs to be here in Surrey. And so it's not going to be for any small scale project, which I wish it really was, because I think that's another good thing to do, to have gentle density, which Vancouver is going to I'll talk about in another article here coming up about Vancouver's idea of getting gentle density throughout their city. But what these are going to be is at least 4 stories, at least 2,100 square foot of residential area. This is going on top of what was announced in January, where the city of Surrey is receiving $96 million in exchange for overhauling and simplifying the policies to expedite more housing, to get more housing built faster, basically. The city of Surrey wants to be the biggest city in the province by 2030, and having stuff like this in place, making it faster for developers to build, is a good thing. So if you're aware of the city of Surrey, you're going to obviously understand where this map is. The 1.5 kilometers extending from all of these areas makes a really big difference. It's a lot of houses out here that can use this in terms of land assembly. Makes a huge difference as well, because you can see all these outlying areas are residential single family lots here, whereas you get into the middle here, you get these bigger developments, bigger lots. And then you take the King George corridor and up into Guildford area here. And again, you're getting a lot of these single family lots here, which again makes a huge difference in terms of what is the highest and best use for these areas when you're doing a land assembly here. Now that you can build something for a little bit more cost effective if you're in these areas, the numbers are going to pan out a little bit better in these areas versus these areas outside those zones. Now we're going to stick with Surrey here for this next article here, and I forgot to introduce myself. My name's James Anderson. I'm a realtor here in the Lower Mainland, focusing right now on Surrey here, but I can help people move in and out of anywhere in the Lower Mainland. Back to the article here. Surrey's extending the boundaries for the city centre area, the Fleetwood area, and the Clayton plans as well. So with the new legislation passing down, Bill 47, they're talking about transit-oriented areas in and around SkyTrains, and of course with City of Surrey adding more SkyTrains in down the Fraser Highway corridor, things are going to change fast, and especially since the fact that we already had these plans in place prior to this, and these new legislations, the BC NDP have come out with new rules and changing everything, and I think it's going to shake things up a little bit with what was already introduced there before. With Bill 47 now in place, it's going to mandate that the cities are doing these types of upgrades into the bylaws, making it a lot easier to build density around those areas. Well, you can see the additions. The Newton plan here added some area to the west. The Fleetwood plan here added just a tiny little bit of area here, not very much obviously, but the Clayton plan got the biggest addition here. Massive changes here towards this. It's almost basically tripled what was in this Clayton plan here. Now all of this is coming into play here with Trudeau, the Prime Minister, if you didn't know, trying to say that he's going to build 3.8 1.7 million homes by 2031. And there's, in my opinion, some very hard things that they are going to have to overcome in order to do that. The biggest being the fact that, we're only basically building just around 200,000 homes for the last 10 years. We're going to have to double that basically to hit almost triple that, 552,000 homes for every single year constructed, every single year for the next consecutive 7 years in order to hit that almost 4 million homes by 2031, which seems like a very big long shot. And one of the main reasons why is this right here, the worker shortage. I mean, we can remove as much red tape here, and we can do things like bring in all of these transit-oriented areas and extend all these things out and get all the red tape out of there and put money towards making these permit processes faster. But we still need people to build the homes, and we have a massive worker shortage right now. And to add to that, the fact that the worker shortage has pushed the average annual wage up to $75,000, up 21% for the last 5 years. And what does that mean? It just means it's going to be a lot harder to build homes affordably. Basically, if we're having to pay these people 21% more, that means we're going to have to, that cost is going to be put onto the buyers or the people that are going to be living into the homes or the people that are going to be subsidizing those homes getting built. So over the last 5 years, we've actually seen a drop in the amount of trades workers that we have in the industry here, which obviously is not a great thing if we're trying to double, almost triple those outcome projections to build enough homes to make it affordable. Okay, so my next article going into what's going on in Vancouver here, a little bit more established, obviously, with their transit network. And so with the provincial legislation coming in terms of the transit-oriented areas, they are starting to talk more about what they are going to allow throughout the city. And they're calling it gentle densification here. So here you go, Vancouver City Council here is considering allowing up to 8 homes on each single family lot. Now these 8 homes would have to be rental. You couldn't stratify these ones and sell them off. But if you did want to stratify them and sell them off, they would only allow 6, which obviously still seems like a lot. But 8 homes would be permitted on each single family lot to provide housing for middle income households, basically. But most lots here, as I say here, with maximum of 3 to 6 units for strata ownership. So basically making it a mini condominium, owning something in those area. You'd own a portion of the land and you'd own a portion of the building with the other strata lot owners. Exactly like what you would be doing if you were to buy a condo in a 100-unit complex. And so I think this type of thing is going to come to a bunch of different cities here throughout the Lower Mainland. They're obviously doing this here in Vancouver first. I expect to see it in Burnaby. I expect to see it in Richmond, in Coquitlam, and definitely in Surrey as well going forward. I'm starting to see fourplexes in Surrey a lot more often, and that's something that we're going to be talking more about in the future as well. And lastly, we're going to go over this BC Real Estate Association article here talking about what it means, and topical obviously if you're going to be buying one of those stratified homes there. What does it mean if you're going to be buying an owner built home? So there's a few different, when you're buying a brand new home, there's differences between who you're buying it from. Number one, if you're buying it from a developer, you're under the Real Estate Development Marketing Act, and that's completely different. It has a different rescission period. If you're buying something like a pre-sale, and you have those 7 days built in, instead of if you're buying a resale, you only have 3 days in the rescission period, aside from the subjects that you do put in the project or the offer. And then you have the other two. You have a residential builder, just a regular residential builder licensed with the Homeowner Protection Office. And then you have an owner builder, someone that's built their own home. And there's some other things on top of that, aside from the owner builder disclosure notice that you must receive. It has to be received. There's other things as well dealing with that. If you are looking at buying a home that was owner occupied and owner built. And I say owner occupied because the owner must occupy the house for at least 1 year. And they cannot sell it, they cannot list it or rent it out during that 1 year period unless they have obtained BC Housing's permission to do so on account of hardship. And then anytime after that, first year moving in, you have 9 more years where anytime that property has been sold, there must be a disclosure notice before entering into the agreement of the sale of the home. So so anytime any owner-built home is purchased or sold within the next 10 years, everybody needs to know that this is a owner-built home. And on top of that, there's some safeties built in here. The Land Title Office will notify BC Housing anytime the title to an owner-built home is transferred. So BC Housing can take the enforcement action against the seller and sale if they're not following the law, basically. And so these owner-built homes are subject to the same rules that if you're buying a brand new home from a developer, basically the 2-5-10 warranty policy. And so usually is the case, there is some insurance that is bought for the owner builder so that they are not specifically held liable for the warranty. And for coverage, going forward, it would be basically the insurance company taking care of that, not the specific owner builder, but the owner builder needs to provide obviously some information to the purchaser of these homes. So there you go. This is the week's accelerated weekly roundup. I hope you enjoyed this. Hope you're having a great week. I'll see you again next one.